Hello, beautiful people. I'm dropping in here today in order to reflect with you a little bit about the relationship between heart and mind, and perhaps offer some ideas, some tips as to how you can bring that one back into balance if you feel yourself getting out of it. It's actually very easy to get out of balance in that relationship because of the cultural soup that we swim in the Western world, and because of the conditioning that many of us carry, where there is a very strong pattern of domination of mind over heart and body, which is a reflection really of a way of favoring masculine energy, this drive, this accomplishment, this goal setting and planning and thinking and analyzing over our embodied experience. And that creates a lot of pain. It creates a lot of stuckness that we might not even understand why it's there. We just feel stuck and we don't know why. And the truth is that our hearts play a huge role in our relationships, in our creative process. And if they don't play such a huge role, then that's really bad news, because at least from my experience, creating from the mind tends to bring a lot of suffering and also a lot of failure. And over these last 5 years of journeying out into the wild and into this experience of following my authentic path, I've learned more and more about the role that heart plays in that, and I've learned more and more about the way we can listen to heart. And I think one of the ways in which we can approach disentangling or liberating heart from domination of mind and rebalancing that relationship in a way that does not shame, blame, or put down mind, as mind is also very important. It's just the relationship that's fucked up. There's ways to go about this, okay? And I'd like to speak about 3 of the main patterns that I've seen in myself and in the clients I work with, and speak to the ways we can go about rebalancing through healing those patterns. The first pattern that reinforces this domination of mind over heart is this idea that I'm not supposed to be feeling the way I'm feeling, which is basically shame, which is basically mind telling heart and body, hey, your experience right now is not welcome. And clearly, in order to decondition from that, one of the first steps we can take is to have our minds actually say, hey, this experience in this body that's moving through right now is welcome. And yes, it can slow us down temporarily, as there might be some emotions flowing, there might be some sadness, there might be some fear, there might be some yawns. In my case, I yawn a lot. So there's different ways in which heart and body release that can slow down whatever it is that we're doing. But the alternative to that is much worse, where actually through telling our hearts they're not supposed to be feeling the way they're feeling, we numb them, we shut them off, and we actually get whatever emotion is in there stuck in there. And once it gets stuck in there, our minds are also going to start struggling, because there is this balance in the body that will express also in the mind, and in a sense of being stuck, in a sense of being confused, of not knowing where to go, of not having clarity. So one of the simplest things you can do, if you feel like you want to give your heart that permission to be and to feel, is just to simply sit with yourself for, let's say, 5 minutes. You can put a timer if you want. And just have that intention. You can put your heart on your chest and just have that intention of, for those 5 minutes, I'm just gonna listen, and I'm just gonna allow for whatever emotion is flowing through to be here. And I'm not going to judge it. I'm not going to tell myself this is not supposed to be here. Oh, it's only this happened. I'm not supposed to be reacting in the way I am. I'm too much. No, you're not too much. You just have a heart that needs to feel this, yeah, to move through it. The second main pattern of domination is this. Actually, what I've seen is this like forceful way of like saying, like, again, it's connected to the previous one, but it's like saying, hey heart, I want you to open, I want you to be here for me, I want you to do this, you know. It's like I trying hard to connect to our hearts, trying hard to open up. And the truth is that the connection with the heart works in exactly the opposite way, which is there is no effort involved in it. It's an act of letting go. It's an act of surrendering. It's an act of releasing control so that whatever is there can flow freely, right? So if you find yourself in this state where you're like, oh, but like I feel disconnected from my heart and what's happening, and you know, and why am I feeling this way and everything, just remember you don't need to effort your way to your heart. All you need to do is relax into it, surrender into it. And the last pattern I want to address today around heart is there's something about protecting ourselves from others and protecting others from ourselves. There's this way of closing up relationship with other people that can be very, disconnecting, because actually heart exists in a state of unity, in a state of interbeing and interconnectedness with all that is around us. And so one of the sure ways to close it down is to think that you need to protect yourself from another, or that you need to protect others from yourself because maybe you can hurt them, or maybe you can say something or be too much in a certain way. And one of the coolest things I've recently discovered that I want to share with you in this relationship is that actually if you look closely into heart and the way it functions and that interbeing, what you're gonna find is that you have many hearts. This came in my awareness as I was going through my own process of breakup and healing from a heartbreak. And I went up in nature and I found this little green fruit that was cut off a branch. And I took that little fruit and I looked at it and I said, oh, that's pretty much like my broken heart right now. And then as I was looking at it, I realized, oh, but it's just one fruit. And then there's the entire tree with all these other fruits that haven't yet been broken and are ripening as I'm looking at this. And there was this feeling of expanding, this feeling of, oh my God, I have many hearts. As I open my heart, I connect to all the hearts of everything that is around me, and I can be held by them. And it's very interesting because it goes in the reverse pattern, or somehow along with the pattern of picking up others' emotions. Maybe you've had an experience of that, especially if you're more empathic and have troubles with energetic boundaries like me. There is a weakness in that we often experience, but there's also a strength, because once you're able to connect through the heart to all the hearts that you have, to that expanded state of consciousness where it's no longer you and that individual body, but it's that wider web of interbeing, of life that you're connected with, then not only can you hold others in your heart when they're going through something difficult and support them through that, which is a gift, by the way, although sometimes it can be a burden when you don't consciously do it and you just pick it up. But also the opposite is true. You can allow yourself to be held by the many hearts that are around you, to receive that love, to receive that holding. And it's a beautiful experience. And so I would suggest for you, next time you're in nature or around people, to allow yourself to feel all your hearts and to feel yourself held by them and to see how that affects you. And this is, I think, everything I wanted to share with you today, although there's much, much more I could speak about on this topic. And I guess what I want to finish with is just to set that intention, whether or not any of these tips and observations relates to you or not, to set that intention for ourselves and for one another, really to keep on finding our way towards liberating our hearts from the dominion of the mind, so that the two of them can sit together and discuss and have a proper healthy relationship, right? Because if we're able to do that, only then we can hope to create healthy relationships with others and with the things that we're creating. Thank you for listening, and see you soon.